Bernie here, broadcasting live from sunny California. Why are crypto prices so low these days? We're in the middle of crypto winter, and as you know, it's the same with growth stocks and a lot of stocks in general. And why is that? There's many reasons, right? And are we at the bottom yet? Is it the right time to aggressively buy crypto? That's what we're talking about in this video. So there can be a lot of reasons. It could be interest rates. It could be inflation. It could be, just the appeal of crypto has faded a little bit. Like the initial promises of DeFi have kind of come down. All the schemes that, promise, all the schemes that, promise like a high yield on everything, they have faded out. So there's so many different possibilities on why that could be. And I would like to give you some details on that. So obviously, the most important reason that drives markets these days, and make no mistake, is interest rates, right? That's just how Wall Street works. Everyone's looking at interest rates to keep inflation down. And let's be clear, the job has to be done. Inflation has to come down because it's no good for the most vulnerable in society. Depending on where you are and what you do, it might not hurt you that much. But remember, the most vulnerable will be hurt the most by inflation. So if we can't get inflation down, there's everything else won't work either. So in order to keep inflation down, the Fed has to raise rates, which it is doing. Why then, if people get like, instead of half a percentage point of fixed interest rates on something, now they might get 2%, right? Is that reason to drive down crypto prices like 75%? Well, that is how Wall Street works, because just these fixed interest rates products, they compete as investments and as short-term investments with stocks, right? So just years ago, there was no alternative, right? You couldn't earn a good interest on anything safe or fixed interest rates or stuff like that. So people went into riskier products. Riskier products are growth stocks, so stocks whose profits are long in the future. And if you think about crypto, many of these have the same thing. They need adoption to be growing in the coming years and decades. So they will have their best years ahead of them. And that is especially true for, smart contract and dApps and DeFi and Web3. This is now really in the beginning, and it takes a couple of years for those benefits to come to fruition. So are we at the bottom yet? All history tells us when the Fed turns around and makes the first comments like, oh, it might not be a 0.75% increase. It might just be a 0.5% increase, right? Even if they mention that somewhere, that has been the turnaround point for risky asset prices all in the past. And let me just show you a few charts about that. So here we go. All right. So here, what we see here is a chart of the Ethereum price over the years, and as you can see, there's not that, it doesn't look like it's the deepest of all winners, right? But as I suggest, for long-term trends, you have to look at the logarithmic view, which we just had, right? So this is kind of the linear view, and here you see that it looks like crazy. It looks like we had a huge spike here, and then we've come to the bottom here. But don't look at that. Always look at long-term charts in the logarithmic view. And here you see it's not that much of a downturn, which could kind of raise the fears that, yeah, it might come down even more. If you look at Solana, actually it looks quite similar here. It has had a huge spike here, but the rise has been way steeper. So the fall has been steeper also, and we're at like a 75% downturn here if you look at these. So for the future, have we reached bottom or not? We would have to look at money supply, right? Because usually it's money supply what drives the Fed policy, right? If money supply rises a lot, then if money supply rises a lot, then the fear of inflation is rising as well, right? If we have more money in the system than the system can use, then people will spend the excess money, and then we're going to be in inflationary territory. So, but now let's see what this all means, because there's so many people out there that say, hey, money supply has increased so much in the last few years, so we need to have dramatic measurements in the future, dramatic increases in the interest rate in order to keep inflation in check. But that's actually not true. If we look at our chart, our little chart here, for the money supply, right? So this is, well, by the way, this is the federal funds rate here. So this is the interest rate, and you see we had quite some increase in interest rate. But if you look at it at a historic scale, and just zoom out a little bit here on the scale, then it's all a little bit relative, right? You see that we had these 1980s spike here, and this all looks like a little thing here, and yeah, the big question is, will we have to raise rates more, way more? And if you look at this chart, and many people are looking at this chart here and say, well, just in recent years, the money supply has increased substantially. But as I mentioned, never look at long-term charts in a linear way. You'd have to go to the logarithmic view. And if you see that same chart here, you see like it's basically on that line here. We had lower increases in money supply, and we kind of snapped back a little bit here, and there is that slight rise here. That all puts us back into the long-term trend. So I don't think with money supply, we will be in territory where interest rates have to be raised like crazy. Also, I feel there's a lot of deflationary trends. I think some of what Cathie Wood is saying is definitely true. Not to say I believe everything Cathie Wood says, but technology drives deflation, and I'm a big believer in technology. So I believe everything, tech stocks as well as crypto, as well as everything that has come down, well, not everything, but the good ones will come back up. So does that now mean we're now at the bottom, and should we buy crypto aggressively? Am I buying? So I'm definitely buying. I feel we're definitely not at the bottom yet, because usually we're at a bottom when something breaks, right? When Lehman Brothers goes bust, or when we have a big event, and we had that Luna event in crypto, and all these type of things, but it was not that big thing yet, and it might never come, right? It might just all fizzle out, and we might go slowly upwards from where we are. But most probably there's going to be a big spike downwards, right? A big meltdown, and then it will go up again very fast, right? So, but I think we're kind of close to some sort of value, right? There might be a big spike downwards and then back up, and then we move from there. But I don't believe, there will be lots and lots of inflation ahead of us, and the Fed has to increase rates and like crazy. I personally don't believe that will happen. Looking at the money supply charts, I believe in lots of technologies, and I believe in crypto. So I am definitely buying. I do what's called dollar cost averaging, DCA. So buying a little now and then so that the price and my cost basis averages out, right? It's not like, oh, this is now the bottom. Nobody knows. You cannot time the market, right? So you should do it like a little over a little, buy stuff. And frankly, what is super important and super cool, the nodes that we have for our own Bitoku blockchain, those are not traded. They are not subject to the ups and downs. They are emitting tokens. And these tokens will be listed at some point in the future in 2023. They are not right now. So they are not affected by the markets up and down. With those nodes, you just earn the tokens every day. And that's the automatic dollar cost averaging, right? And at some point, when the Bitoku chain goes live and the Oku tokens are listed, then we can trade them and see whatever we do with them. So that's actually a great thing to invest these days into things that are not traded right now, but that emit the rewards and where you can run your own validator node and earn money by validating transactions. And yeah, that's probably the best thing to do in crypto winter. So thank you all for watching, and see you next time.